evening in Kenya when we are talking about things that bother us as Kenyans and looking for the way forward for our nation. A few things that continue to trouble myself here is the issue of tribalism, but I am very hopeful and very delighted to see how people are waking up to the reality of reacting to the way the leaders are trying to divide people alongside ethnic lines. And I think this time around, we have got all tools and instruments to record, instruments that are not going to be compromised when we'll be moving, if it needs to be, to the International Criminal Court of Justice due to incitements, whether it is from the government, the United Opposition, or elsewhere. That's one. And I believe, uh, as I said some time back, when we talk about civic education, these are some of the areas that we, the people, the leaders, aspiring, and anywhere we are, that we continue educating the masses what it means to be Kenyan. People are very proud to be Kenyans out there, out Kenya, but when we see the things that are happening back home, we feel so sorry for that situation. The other thing is that I have seen people in Kenya trying to say to say that now the president has money, so he will build all the roads. I don't know in what areas. And I continue to tell the people again, civic education is very important. Let us check who is responsible for doing what so that people don't come and start shouting, road here, water there, I don't know what. Let people stick to their responsibilities that took them to the representation of the people. I also want us to also focus on the issue of conclaves and the dialogues that Baba is trying to bring on board. I want to say, and with all due respect and humility, that, for the longest time, I have always, and I will always respect Baba for whomever he has always been, whether it was genuine or never. Because nowadays it's very hard to know what intentions people have when they want to rise to positions of leadership and power. But on this particular issue of dialogue and conclave, I do not want to hear it anytime soon. They cannot purport to be the solution bearers where they are the problem themselves. The conclaves that need to happen is happening now. We, the people, have said we do not want leadership of President Ruto and his people. Whether Ruto is a good person with rogue people around him, it's his problem. The buck stops with him. Whether he is a bad person surrounded by good people, it is his problem. It is not our problem. Our problem is Ruto must know the goose is already cooked and he must start now smelling the coffee that things are not the way they should. And this is, I say, with all humility because I know in the position of presidency, people, you cannot allow, you have to be the most emotionally intelligent person. You do not just dish out if you're just like shoot people on the legs. Which police in Kenya is ever trained to shoot people on the legs? And we know what that you only need to find a serious area and that's it, you're gone. Plus, why should the government allow people or police be treated in that way? Why should you shoot your brother and sister when they're agitating for power? I mean, for proper leadership in government. We should be enlightened. Even these people know that one day they will come to answer some of these questions that we are talking about. So, issues of conclaves, no, not with the current regime. We, the people here, are discussing what we want. And we know that most of our, because why is it that we didn't have so many problems during Kibaki's time? you know, and we had come out from a very long leadership of Moi, with whom our parents keep telling us that he was the most ruthless person. But when Kibaki came into power, the GDP of our economy rose, it grew significantly. And that's what Ruto also wanted to do from the word go. But I think he was just saying good things because he found some good words to say. Now everything, nobody even knows what they are doing, not from education, our children. I don't know what kind of a generation we are bringing up. not in our hospitals. Shisha, it might be working in some areas, but it has failed 90%. We are talking about trade. We are talking about our photo, our pic. I mean, not photos, but our picture internationally. How we are relating with other people. I mean, how are our foreign policies and trade agreement? Or we are just thwarted left, right, and center so that we can dismantle ourselves. So that dialogue, no, 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 no. For me, it's gone. We cannot have that dialogue under the current setup of the government. We even have NADCO. NADCO has not even settled down well. It even ended up with some of the leaders in it not believing in the process itself because they know what they did. It was just a matter of telling a few men and women to come on the table so that they can be able to divide and rule the Kenyans. We cannot continue doing that. Lastly, in this submission, I'm trying to say is that we in Kenya currently we have three groups of politicians. I mean, of leaders and politicians, and I would put it this way. And it is upon us to decide which group we want to follow through. We have, first of all, the government that is with Ruto and his rogue regime, and whatever bread-based, whatever he is calling it, that's him. We also have the united opposition, that is Wamonyoro and the rest. And thirdly, we have the alternative leadership, that is we the people should be part of it. Because the two factions have shown us they have no interest whatsoever to move this country an inch forward into whatever we would want to see 60 years down the independence. I am therefore pleading with all Kenyans, wherever they are, we must scrutinize the alternative leadership that is being presented to you and see who are the people that, because by the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we must have politicians in political offices moving the country forward. Who are the people at heart have it that they would want to implement the Kenyan constitution to the latter? I believe myself and others, we are in that kind of a boat. And I believe everybody who is in this space today, unless you're a traitor who is coming to collect information to go and start forcing people to change their names, we all know what is happening. Today, you might be eating on the table. Tomorrow, you'll be the legs of that table, and it will not be nice for you. So, we have a lot to discuss. And I don't even want to go to the church situation because I believe church was, had a good opportunity to be able to save this country, but it has failed terribly in so many ways, and especially these people who want to purport to, I don't know, to speak with a speed that is higher than the lightning in terms of church matters. So those are some of the issues, Abdi and here, that are seriously being discussed over here in the diaspora and other places. And I'm happy that people are coming together with similar agenda. And I hope by the time we get to the next call, to the bigger call, we shall have men and women, young men and young women of substance who have got Kenya at heart, patriotics and pan-Africanists that will make sure that Kenya becomes the epitome of leadership, democracy, and progressive ideologies in that part of the Africa. So thank you so much, Thierry and Abdi. I'll be coming back with more. Thank you.
Asante sana Daktari, for always your part. Nerima, I can see you. Welcome to the space. Anytime you can pick up the mic. I want to bring in Anthony very quickly. And this is what I have, Anthony, for you. Let's be honest with ourselves. Before we rush to talks of national conclave, as the Daktari put, we need to ask ourselves what happened to the action point in the MOU between Raila and UDA. What agreement was signed with a big promise, but where is the follow-up through? Let's look at what they have for the national conclave and what they signed before in their MOU. One thing, they promised to tackle youth unemployment, but there is no policy shift or jobs or no hopes for millions of Kenyans. The other thing they said was they will realign the economy to support the youth. Yet the cost of living is rising. Youth voices remain excluded. The other thing they signed was they talked about constitutionalism and human right, but crackdown on protests, police brutality, shrinking space still continues. They committed to devolution about 450 billion, which Boni Mwangi will tell us, to the counties. Where is the push for that in the budget? They pledge to address corruption and leadership and integrity, but impunity reigns and the same corrupt networks still thrive. So why the national conclave? Is it genuinely to solve the people problem, or is it to stage a set for another political handshake? I think Kenyans are not suffering from lack of dialogue. We are suffering from lack of implementation, integrity, and political will. So over to you, Anthony.
Oh, thank you very much, Abdi. Thank you, Hilary. Sorry, I came in late. I was held up in a small meeting. You see, Kenya already has too many reports shelved somewhere. If Raila, and I know he's adamant, and I know he's going to do it, he's going to have this national conclave or national discussion. I believe that the young people have this country in a corner. And where the position the country finds itself in today is that we, the young people, can actually say, before we discuss this, everything Abdi you've asked, we can say, what did we do with the NATCO report? What did we do with all other reports that we've discussed? So that we set this country now on a trajectory of action, not discussions. Because for far too long, we've been on the discussion path and we have evaded or ignored 100% the action part. A discussion is needed. That much I'll agree. Because we need to fight perspectives and perceptions. But who is the convener of that? You see, if we allow today government to be the convener, then we are going to sit at their table. They will set the agenda, they will control the narrative. If any discussion is to be held, the government should not be the one setting the agenda or setting the dates.
Principal Secretary, all those entrusted with leadership, openly debating on how to shoot Kenyans, as if the only question is where to aim, not whether to shoot. I think some say kill them, others say cripple them, others say maim them, others say immobilize them. That alone reveals the moral decay in our leadership. It isn't just reckless, it is inhumane. It's disturbing consensus across the state apparatus that bullets, no dialogue, are the response to citizen demand. And the other bit I want you also to bring is the intergenerational conflict, which is also ongoing. And we saw earlier I talked about Raila Odinga's push for intergenerational conflicts. We talked about the timeline speaks volumes. In 1997, we talked about the IPPG, where he joined Kanu as a Secretary General. We talked about 2008 post-election violence, where he became a Prime Minister. Then we talked about 2018, after divisive election with President Uhuru, the BBI that flopped with the courts, and there was a handshake. And 2023 under Ruto, we have a bipartisan talk, resulting into a broad-based government model that absorbed the oppositional figures. Now, in 2024, in 2025, we are in a intergenerational conclave. I don't know where it's going to lead us. Thank you. Welcome, Narima.
Thank you so much, Abdi, Hilary. Those are quite a number of questions. I hope I'll be able to respond to all of them, but I'll just share through my thought process. So first, I'll start off with, we must be cognizant to the fact that Ruto was in an administration that wanted, no toward this constitution. So when he came in with Uhuru, there was no goodwill to implement the constitution. In fact, what they managed to do was to water it down. That was one of the first things. So we are seeing devolution struggling. We're talking about a constitution that has existed for 15 years. We're also talking about an administration at the moment that is doing everything in its power to remain a federal system. It's concerning when we see the president gallivanting through counties, preaching on development, preaching on the future, preaching on resources, and we're not seeing governors, we're not seeing CSAs taking that mantle. So we are only seeing a sense of control when it comes to the sense of power. However, based on that, what I also believe we are witnessing is the fact that handshakes are diminishing in their power. Let me explain this. We are also used to seeing Raila coming, having an agreement. We've seen it in BBI, we've seen it in NADCO, we've seen it in handshake, and now we've seen it in broad-based government. Why is it different this time? It's different this time because we never thought we would live through a moment where crowds are gathered in the streets and it's not Raila who called them. In fact, a lot of people politically wondered whether we would ever live to witness masses of people standing on an issue without Raila being at the forefront of it. The answer is yes. We are living through that moment right now as we speak. To see Raila speaking on Sabasaba to give us a history lesson of why Sabasaba is important, being flanked by politicians who have no audience and following. I'm talking about the likes of Alai, who were a few days before on a scandal about land grabbing and kicking out people from their home, or the likes of Aladwa, people who have no strength or basis from the party, are the people who are behind him. I never thought we would see that day where we're seeing this power of influence diminishing, where we're seeing where the call to stand behind Raila is no longer seen as a necessity for survival for politics. This is also inclusive of Babu Owino. We know his interest in running for governor in Nairobi. We haven't seen him standing up vocally saying that he's still a member of ODM. This shows you that power is shifting. So, to answer the question on is something else forming? Yes. Right now, it appears invisible, but it's very strong. We're seeing shifts in political dynamics that people don't quite know how to explain them, but we're feeling it. There are people who want to anchor themselves in a political party, but they just don't know where. There are people who know they want something different, but they just don't know who. For me, this is something that is fascinating and it's important because you can't preach a lie of this constitution is something we worked hard for, it's for you, and then young people are trying to practice it, but you're trying to use days of Moi in terms of minimizing their rights. And then this is where I transition to, what was talked about earlier. I think even Anthony mentioned it. We are beyond dialogue. We are beyond. We know what is needed in this country. In fact, what people are demanding for is action. People want to see justice. People want to see people doing their job. People are tired of seeing loyalists rising to high levels of political power and performing mediocre. They're tired of that. So there's pressure, there's plenty of pressure. And then in that mix, there's political power shifts and dynamics that have shifted that people don't know how to manage and control. So when you see this sense of an opposition trying to gallivant this country, trying to solidify these tribal blocks, they are still struggling. They're still struggling with carrying a sense of relevance, connecting. And that's when they're trying to carry the flag, trying to fit in into this movement, but they still seem odd. And so, why I know that the state is threatened? Remember, in the colonial Kenya, they called the Mau Mau terrorists, people who are fighting for their land. They couldn't understand why these people are fighting. They couldn't understand how these people are organizing. They found them a nuisance and they said they were a disturbance to peace. You can just replace that with today, with young people calling for accountability, pushing for justice, systems that work, good governance, people being held accountable, and their tax money being able to see where it's going. People just want services to work where they are. As simple as that. They don't give a damn who brought that service. They don't give a damn who was able to appoint, anoint to make sure that service was provided. They just want that service to be available. So it's a concern when the state starts to use the word terrorist on its young people and then use it as a way of intimidation when you have high bills where people are not able to leave the cells, using them as an example, and the fact that we have another case, the fact that we have another young woman dying in police custody, it's mind-blowing that the country continues to exist. And we see the president today speak about parents need to stop inciting their children and tell them to do what is right. But nobody wants to talk about the goons that they have hired to disrupt peaceful protesters or politicians involved in hiring those goons. No one wants to talk about the rule of law and order. People would rather have chaos, set businesses on fire through the police just so that they maintain power. They will be shocked that this is a generation that will look for the information, the evidence, and they will not be fooled by the propaganda that they think Moi used to threaten politicians into silence. And we are going to have a battle of the titans, where it's going to be the people against the small minority in power, fighting for the very same power. Thanks.
Asante sana, Nerima, always for your thought. And I will just add a little bit from Senior Counsel Paul Muite. He says, I had a chat with him earlier, and he says, Rao is just trying to offer William Ruto a way out by de-escalating tension and the demonstration, not actually pushing for real solutions. I think this could be the reason. The core issues like corruption, odious debt, and punitive taxes can be resolved through a conclave or boardroom deals. They need a real actions. That's what he thinks. Asante sana, Senior Counsel. Having said that, Nerima, I just circle back to you quickly. As you said, given Raila Odinga's long history of political accommodation and erosion of authentic opposition politics under his watch, do you believe his continuing dominance in opposition spaces is stalling the emergence of new visionary leaders? And how can Kenyans cultivate a truly independent, accountable opposition that is not tied to the elite negotiation or past liberation credentials? Asante sana.
I think a lot of people are going to be upset with my opinion on this, but we do not have an opposition. If anything, I believe that ODM will be dead a year from now. People can argue with me, that's okay. We can live a year to see it happen. So, unfortunately, we have these parties that are personality based with no sense of ideology. The fact that it's very simple for ODM to connect and combine with every single administration that has existed, well, when we're talking about the party leader himself, then it's very difficult to talk about an opposition, specifically because their role is supposed to be similar to a shadow government. Once government is making decisions on policies or spending resources in a way that the people do not agree with, this is where the people now depend on opposition for alternative solutions. Once government and opposition are speaking the same language from the same page, then it's very safe to say that opposition is non-existent. And I will say this also for the different formations that are forming. What are they offering that is different from already exists? What we have had is personality conflicts. What we have had is people who are angry with each other, and it's just basically a fight for power. It has nothing to do with the Kenyan people. It has nothing to do with solutions. It has nothing to do with how they are going to rule completely differently from what exists. Until I see that, which I believe when we're seeing, Maraga and Okia, they are trying to form that in terms of, reset, restore, rebuild. However, with most of the political kingpins or whatever you name it, they're speaking the same language. And I would tell people that they would be foolish to put their hopes in those people and hope for a different Kenya.
Thank you, Narima. As you learned, what is your action point? What are the plans? What do you think that what's the way forward now? Because we are seeing these people are the same people. We don't have opposition. We are seeing they are calling people. They are aligning themselves. What do you think it is our way forward now, or what are the action plans?
For now, we cannot continue to allow the state to intimidate, to minimize the voice. Especially, we have young people who are incarcerated right now, falsely accused. We need to get them out. The judiciary cannot continue to bully young people into silence. I don't think that this is something that we should allow to happen. Number two, it would be people to register. I see that there are already teams that are out encouraging young people to get their IDs, to get their voters' cards. And then it would also be to have an open ear to the alternatives, especially when we're looking at people who are looking for political seats. we have to be keen. What are people saying within Bunge? What have MCAs pushed? Where are they now? Especially in the issues that we're seeing, and going to our communities and reminding them that these are not people we can continue to have. This is where they have led us and they are silent. We can't depend on people's popularity because of the high budgets that they have for campaign financing, yet we clearly know that once they enter power, they are not going to be able to have the solutions. So for me, it would be to organize in your spaces, to encourage others to get their IDs, their voters' cards, to monitor, especially those who are in leadership right now. Who are we kicking out? If people can recall, we just need to recall half of this country. We select 25 MPs that we're going to try and recall, and we test it. Let's put this IBC to the test now and put pressure, since the public is eyeing them so keenly. So it's to continue with momentum, and it doesn't have to be only through protest.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Narima. Oh, those guys who are joining, we thank you so much. Welcome on board. This is a Pressure Point series, State of the Nation. Every Sunday we are here, and as you give your submission, I usually say that give action plans. What are the plans after this? And also, Nerima remind us that the IBC opening the portals. Let us know. Let us check your ID, check your voting card if it is valid, if everything is okay. That's fine. Wanjiru, can you go ahead then, Wanjira? Don, you'll come. Don't worry. Let me hear the ladies. Most of the time they share away sometimes. Wanjiru, what do you think? President alitangaza juzi watu wapigwe miguu. Tumeona pia pigwe miguu risasi. Tumeona pia mambo mengi yakifanyika, tunaona watu wanaitwa tuweze kuzungumza pamoja, tunaona watu wanabadilisha majina sana wiki iliyopita sana sana. Are we still in the same boat, or we are losing it, or we are singing their song? Because I'm wondering now everybody is called I don't know. Wanjiru.
You didn't even change your name. You'd have been Hillary Kilothia.
Imenishinda juu sijaelewa.
Hillary Kilothia. Anyway, I hope everyone is okay. And everything is going well. I today went to check for the prices of the wheelchair and crutches because kidogo will be handicaps. So it's also good to take note of and check the prices of these things.
Kwa-
They're
Ulipata
quite expensive though.
ulipata contract eh?
Nilikuwa naangalia in wholesale naweza anzia biashara. Mi ni Mkikuyu, make hay when the sun shines. Anyway, yeah. That apart, I think everything going. I don't want to talk about the dialogue thing because I think that the conclave thing is past the time. We already gave time for Ruto to listen to our demands since last years, and he hasn't listened. I don't understand what else can actually make us love him, or actually also make like there is no action plan of a dialogue. So I have already removed dialogue from anything. If you want a dialogue, he can ask me, Wanjiru, what do you Kenyans want? And I will clearly tell him Kenyans want you to resign. I think if I'm the only person, I want him to resign because completely ameshindwa kazi. Today he's blaming our parents. The next day he's blaming us, calling us criminals, treasonous, shoot the legs, become crippled. He doesn't look at himself. So I think this is a person who is suffering a lot from from a deity behavior, like a god behavior, which he should actually resign. That apart, I want to talk about the IEBC. I want to talk about the fact that now that we have the IEBC in place, we need to start calling our MPs. We need to start, lighting those signatures. Sijui za Esther Passaris ni ngapi, but I think it's a third of the voters in Nairobi. If a third of us can actually sign, tunatoa Passaris. A third of us sign somewhere else, tunatoa the next. Because what, clearly speaking, they need to go home, and we need to teach them a lesson. We need to teach them, sisi ndio waheshimiwa. Wametukaria sana hadi we call them waheshimiwa when they are actually spitting lies and dividing us on tribal lines. They are not waheshimiwa anymore. We need to let them know it's us who actually hold the power. It's us who actually put you there. So kama hawezi ungana wa impeach Ruto wakiwa wote pamoja, alafu sisi, we shall actually do that. So my point is, if we can actually start from next week to impeach people, to impeach the MPs, if we start from next week, this is going to, maybe the lawyers Akina Wanjera, I don't know any other lawyer here who can actually help us in trying to figure out tutaanzia wapi kuimpeach hawa, si sababu ni mpaka lini tutaanza kulia, you know, until when the pressure is already there. We have already agreed to co-anarchist. We have already, but now coming to our parents to tell them, parents, you are now bad people, you're inciting your children to go to the streets. Hiyo ni kazi gani? Yeye watoto wake wakiendeza wakichukua bodaboda, inaitwaje, wakichukua hizo mathri, nani anamuuliza, you know? The time has come, so guys, I think tukianzia next week correct those signatures, teach akina Pasaris and others lessons, let's start that. So mi mambo ya IBC naweza tu sema tuanze kulicall our thing, na mambo ya Raila na conclave dialogue is, I'm not boarding kabisa, I'm not boarding. And also youths, tusikwe watu wa kukua opportunistic people that sasa utaona akina watu wawili wanne wameenda kusema let us do the conclave thing, let us do the dialogue, I'm representing youths, you are representing us as who? Anyway, nimenyamaza. Thank you, Hilary.
Asante sana Jiru. Thank you so much for that. And yep. So action point, you're saying that let us check, and also, if possible, we recall the MPs, these leaders that we elected. And I think the constitution allows that. It's only that sometimes we don't read the constitution, and it is important for us also to be aligned with the constitution. Let us not wait people to interpret to us, but let us also understand what we're doing. So before we go to the road, it is important. Before we act on these things, it is important. Before we change our name, Wanjiru, umesema ni change Kinuthia, I should understand this thing so that I do something that I understand. And that's where we are. We need to be in the point that we know what we're doing. If we are not, then we'll sing their song. And that is so unfortunate. Then our meeting here will be nonsense and also be useless, wasting a lot of time. But we need to be people who understand. But the question is, are we still singing the same song, or we are singing their song? Because when we started all these things, you started that we are leaderless, partyless, tribeless, and everything. Where are we heading to? Are we still there, or there's something changing? Wanjira, how are you doing? Long time.
Hello, Hilary. Hi, everybody on the space. I'm all right.
Yeah, as you come in, Wanjira, also, thank you for coming in. I think we are also, to Hillary question, just a follow up, and we are in the middle of a dialogue with. So I would say dialogue with no accountability is not a reconciliation, it's a political laundering. And Kenya does not need more dialogue, it needs the enforcement of the law, an end to impunity, and justice for victims. So my question is, do you genuinely believe we need a national dialogue to stop abduction, to stop police shooting, to stop corruption, when the constitution is already clear and the law is sufficient? Is it really issue the lack of political will and accountability from those in power? If so, this dialogue, is it a tool to deflect justice and to delay the people's demand? Thank you, Asante Sana. Always good to hear your voice. Karibu.
Asante sana, Abdi. Well, I really don't think, I am 100% sure we do not need to sit down for us to end police brutality, for us to uphold the Constitution of Kenya 2010. There's nothing we could possibly go say to Raila or to anybody who's convening us for a dialogue that we have not already said. We have been very loud and clear. When Albert Ojwang was killed, the whole nation demanded that we need this insanity to stop. Today, Julia has been killed by police in a police cell in a similar manner that Albert Ojwang was killed. So I feel like we are increasingly existing in extra constitutional times. And I feel that it is now our responsibility, our collective responsibility, to completely ignore Raila's call for dialogue and push and push and push for the implementation of the Constitution. My biggest worry is us sliding into an active dictatorship where our Constitution has been suspended. Because I think that is where Ruto is pushing us to. I think he's driving us crazy with all of this killing so that we could organize ourselves and come out again. Killings happen, and then a state of emergency, and then the Constitution is suspended. And now he rules and rules and rules. Even 2027, as that MP from anaitwaje huyu MP Kuria, Moses Kuria, coming to say he does not think we will be having elections in 2027. The other woman rep saying that in 2027 they are going to steal these resources. I mean these
Are
votes.
you guys
So I
getting
think,
the speaker?
are you not getting me?
Yes, Captain, we can hear Wanjira. Just wait, we can hear. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I thought there was no network. So I'm saying that I think our biggest fight right now is to push for the implementation of the constitution and for the institutions that we have to work independently. I'm very concerned about how the judiciary is being used as a tool to muzzle the young people, to criminalize the young people, to punish the young people in an already hard economic moment. Now young people are being forced to pay bails of 200,000, 50,000, which is not, I mean, people are jobless. People are coming to the streets because they want systems to work, because they want the economy of the country to work. So the judiciary is complicit in creating the dictatorship of William Samoei Ruto. And we need to demand that the judiciary upholds the constitution of Kenya 2010. We need to demand that IPOA, they have really made us lose hope in all of these institutions. We do not understand how they're bending to the will of William Samoei Ruto, who is supposed to be upholding the constitution. In the question about being leaderless and disorganized, personally, I think it's time for us to reflect. I think it's time for us to change tactic. I think it's time for us to get organized. I think it's time for us to institute the seed that has been birthed the past year and this year to be instituted for long-term change of this country, because we are not just looking at 2027. We are looking to actually change the political field of the country long-term, to uproot this neo-colonial system that is so deeply rooted. But I have a lot of hope in this generation and what's going on. But if we do not get it organized, if we do not get clarity of our people from the ground up, we might be tribeless, but some people are still very tribal. I'm very concerned about the brewing vigilante groups in our communities. In Mathare, I can tell you for sure, people are preparing for violence in 2027. So if we do not decentralize all of our efforts to that community, basic community level, one, fight the premeditated violence of 2027, fight for the implementation of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and birth a new organizing of young people, a new political organizing. I think it's time for us to go back to the drawing board. We don't have to go to the streets and face these cops who will shoot us in the leg. I mean, it's a presidential decree, but we have to use other avenues: art, music, film, political grounding, community centers, etc., etc. Yeah, I think that would be my submission today. And I want to thank you for always hosting this space. I always come and listen in. It's always so nice to get where Kenyans are, what Kenyans are thinking. I love that we remain defiant. I love that we remain patriotic. I love that we remain fearless in the face of this burgeoning dictatorship of William Ruto that will be defeated. Asante sana.
Asante sana Wanjira for that, and thank you so much for your submission. Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I see many requests. KT, I see you, and many people. Thank you so much for joining this evening as we discuss the state of the nation, the series that we're running, and we'll run it and run it. Let's talk. How are you doing? Good evening. Before I give the dawn.
Thank you so much, Hilary and Wanjira. Thank you for coming in to contribute. And all the learned friends in the house, thank you so much. And I think what I want to reiterate is that we are unorganized, very well organized, but I feel we are stagnant. Where are we moving or headed to? Because if we keep on saying we need to impeach people, what steps are we taking to finalize on whatever that you're planning to do? What are we doing as a people, that this big organized young people? If we say that let's start the impeachment process, who are the people that you're putting in the forefront to start the process? Do we have MPs working on our behalf? Yeah, do we have like the Babu Owinos that are very well spoken in parliament? Are they part of this group that if we say let's start the impeachment process, maybe even to impeach the president, who is that person to pass the motion in parliament? And if we say let's remove the MPs as the people, because we the people have the power too, who are these guys drafting the laws or drafting the documents that we can all show up and sign? At what point, at county level, at sub-county level, where do we get these forms to impeach these people? I think that's where we need to start. How do we forge our way forward? Because I think we are just stagnant, doing nothing, but we have a lot of energy. We are voicing our disappointment out, but again, up to when are we going to talk about the same thing over and over again without taking action? I think what we are lacking is being people of action, and that's the weakness that Ruto has realized. Very soon, he's going to numb our pain, and he has actually realized that these people, you kill this person today, you go on street, the following day, another young Kenyan is killed. Ultimately, what he's achieved is that he has successfully numbed our pain. So what is remaining to do? He can actually work on our necks without even without us raising anything. The much he can do is go to the street, destroy properties, come back home. Life continues as usual. What are these things that we are taking to make sure that even the MPs who are not on our side, we can impeach them? Those MPs who can actually file a motion in parliament to impeach the president, who are these people that you can support as the Kenyans, like the Babu Owino? How can we support these people such that we can put pressure on our representatives, like our representative, wherever that you come from, you have a representative. Can you put pressure on them? If they don't do as we wish, let us impeach that person. I think what we need is action, action, action. So let's hear of how do we begin the process of impeachment? How do we begin the process of now selecting or appointing these MPs who will act on our behalf? Thank you so much, Hillary, and I give the floor to the rest of the members.
All right, Don, pick it up.
Hillary, hi, good evening, and good
Hi,
evening
good evening.
everyone
Long
here.
time. How are you doing? You're long time.
I'm okay. I'm from yesterday. I was in that town where they killed the young girl. That's my home county, number two. I have three counties, and I can tell you, we. I don't think there was looting on the day the girl was arrested. But there's always something I love saying. I can see Chacha here, my neighbor. There's something I love saying. The police kill you because they can, and you will do nothing about it. Today morning there was a very interesting story in South Africa where the head of police was actually warning the minister of police that the minister of police is in charge of goons in his country. I think you need to look at that area and you see we are not alone. But now, that's said and done, there are two things we need to actually look at seriously. Some of us are in business. We are not activists, but we are active citizens. There are others who are activists. So when we raise our voices, for them, they'll do it full time. That doesn't mean that you're fighting from different sides. No, you're all looking for the same thing. The active citizen, who most likely runs a business or is employed, is looking for a better conducive environment to do business and to live and live in. I want to correct my friend Wanjira, long time. We don't have any MP on your side. You have none. Don't lie to yourself. Our parliament is made up of jackals who are only on your side right now because you're fighting someone. But they're technically not on your side. If there was on your side even one, even that Babu, you're mentioning, how many censure motions has he brought in parliament since he got in against police brutality, against the judicial overreach? Because we have to be factual. The biggest crisis we have in our country is everyone thinking that the biggest problem we have is Ruto must go. That's not the biggest crisis you have. Anyone telling you Ruto must go is the biggest crisis or the biggest achievement you'll have in 2027 is just lying that you'll move from a forest full of jackals to another forest full of hyenas. So you're not helping in the situation. You need to ask yourself, when that lady was shot in Nanyuki, Ruto has nothing to do with it. But the cop knows the DPP will be on his side, the judges will be on his side. So he cares less. So we need to ask ourselves, and I have put 4 points, my friend. Number one is 2027. Do we even know that not every Kenyan can actually be a leader? I've had every Tom, Dick, and Harry saying, I want to run, I want to run. Some of us can't be leaders, but we can support good people to actually run for office. Have we thought about those people and who they are? Secondly, if Ruto goes right now, the crisis I've always asked people, are we ready for a military government? Are we ready for a commission? Or are we ready for a Kindiki presidency? Because I think we need to ask ourselves, even if he goes and we agree we are going to have a government of national unity, are we ready for another Raila handshake? Because a government of national unity, truth be told, if Ruto decides to go tomorrow, believe you me, among the top 3 leaders of your country, Raila will be there making decisions. Right now, you're saying he's bad. He's in the Uhuru side, in the Ruto side. But should there be a government of national unity, he holds sway to a lot of people in our country. So he will be there. Your country, your not your country, your world has had about 8 activists who ran for office and won against a backdrop of dictators. How did they perform? They didn't perform well because we didn't have systems. So you need to ask yourself in your very small way, like what Nani asked. She's called who? Let's talk. If you come from a certain area and there's a mess in that sector, look for a way of holding those people in that sector accountable individually. That policeman who shot Mr. Boniface in town is going to most likely be in jail for 30, 40 years alone. If you watched yesterday the murder series by that guy called Branod Obuya, there's a gentleman who is in jail for shooting in 2007, and the others were left to go. So ask yourself individually, what are you doing? I'll even give you a better good example. My third point, we do not have credible elected leaders. Your MCAs are contractors in the county governments. They are not there to pass laws to help you. Your MPs are contractors in the CDF. They are not in parliament to help you pass laws. So when we say any of them is on your side, what law are they passing? This is what you need to do. Number one, you need to push accountability individually. I've seen here we have 300 and something people. Go to your local area, find out the abuse that is happening either in CDF or in the MCA. Take charge. Don't even sue the government. I always tell people the worst mistake you can do is sue the government. Sue individually. Right now, guys, are you aware that Japheth Kome is in court because of abuse of power last year? Hayuko hapo kama police commissioner, ako hapo kama Japheth Kome peke yake. If there's an evil thing that is happening anywhere, personally, I'm in the pending bills world, and we have cases that are already active, where we are suing individual chief officers for ensuring that payments were not done. Now, there's no way the governor will come and say you're attacking me. No. The governor is not an accounting officer. There's an accounting officer. Sue that one. If we did that and understood our system, it will work. The starting point now, guys, as I wind up, we have over 13 by elections. Let us get sober people to those elections. And by that, don't say about political parties. 2027 will be won by whoever will have the greatest say in the June 25th movement, not political party. So right now, as you're rushing towards the 12th by elections happening for MCA and MPs, get guys who are pro June 25th movement to not for any political party to run. And then Hillary, come December this year, launch a website, and this website should list every Kenyan running for a seat in 2027. Acha watu wawaone na waanze kuwapiga viboko mapema. Kwa hayo machache, today we have a hashtag for Julia. You should thank God you're not a hashtag. So every day when you wake up, thank God for 2 things: that you're not poor, and secondly, that you're not a hashtag. Otherwise, you're most likely right now we'll be speaking on this pod space. Then tomorrow, one of us is a hashtag. That nonsense we should do away with. God bless you, guys. We have a great country. Let's protect it, but let's protect it soberly.
Thank you so much, the Don, and I'll keep in touch. I thank you. I really have that. Wanjira, gonna give you before the response, but let me give you Chacha. Chacha, say something. Then Joe, Wanjira, I'll give you something to respond. KT, I see you. Happy to see you, man. Chacha, go ahead.
Asante sana. Today I'm called Chacha Njoroge Mwai. Not today, for the last 1 week or so. In solidarity with the my brothers. I live with them here in Lokabete. So when they became the target, I felt the need to find a name that will actually make me identify myself with them, with my neighbors.
But on that point, Chacha, as you come in, yeah, I know you. I don't want to go away with your thought process, but with that, do you think that it is a certain trouble is being targeted because we are seeing all comrades are dying, all over, and this is now where I'm coming from. Are we still where we started, or we are changing our songs to their song?
I think what happened, especially after the what was called the looting, is that there are people from different political circles who labeled this as people from a particular region or from a particular ethnic community. And I think that really was to sort of distract us from the bigger picture that people are fighting for in this republic, and therefore the need for us to reject that narrative. Before I do my submission, I want to identify fully with the submission by Ms. Nerima. The biggest weak link in this country that we've had for the longest time is political parties. And Nelima said personality. So political parties in this country, they're centered around personalities. And that's why you see when Moi left the stage, Kanu died. We can barely name any member of parliament who came into office under the umbrella of Kanu. When Kibaki came into office under NAC, he was under DP. Right now, DP does not have even a single member of parliament. And then PNU, who even remembers PNU? We move forward, we find TNA. TNA, I don't know whether TNA has a member of parliament. And then we came to Jubilee. Jubilee has a few here and there, some sprinkling. One thing I'm sure of is that UDA will not form the next government. It might come in as a different party with the same individuals, but UDA as a political party will not form the next administration. Now, political parties in this country, in my understanding, is that first of all, I think before I go to the political parties, we as Kenyans, we stand at a we have very critical issues to address as a people and as a country when it comes to democracy. And political parties, as I have said, they have become a weak link, and the voters have become accomplices in sustaining the broken system. And now politicians are very, very bright, at least in our country, where they have now exploited poverty, they have exploited violence and bribes to retain power, while the citizens, as always, always get the short end of the political stick. Now, although we are desperate as our people for change in this country, we have repeatedly elected the wrong leaders. But there is some sort of hope, I will say. Reform is possible, yes, but through the ballot, with lessons learned from all over the world. I must say that if you were to ask ODM, what is their ideology? What is their view on, for example, very controversial issues like maybe homosexuality and something like that? They will not be in a position to say. In fact, you can take UDA manifesto and change the name to ODM and it will be ODM's manifesto. Now, what am I trying to say in many words? Is that we as the people who actually have the right, political rights to elect, we need to really sort of look at the people who are vying for various positions from the county level to the national level and see their history. Are people who have been defending human rights? Are these people who have been calling for accountability or transparency? How vocal are they about this particular matter? How passionate are they? We have community mobilizers. Why don't we give them a chance, even if it's at the county level, so that we avoid these politicians who they have been in the political corridors for the longest time to enrich themselves and loot. And they know that once they leave office, nobody's going to come for the loot. That is one thing that we really need to think about as a people. But much as I agree that we are faceless, tribeless, and leaderless, it's high time, in my opinion, that this energy is translated into deliverables. Why don't we have a caucus for Meru region, for example, talking about the same issue? Another caucus in Migori, where there is violence every day. I come from Migori personally, so I say this because I think you saw a clip, I think it was in Nyanza, where somebody has a machete in a political rally. I mean, and this is tolerated. We need to have punishment for those who either as commandeers or foot soldiers or organizers of political violence. They need to face serious sanctions that nobody is going to think about political violence anymore going forward. But even as we have this conversation, and I was having this conversation with a few guys here where I live, what are the chances that William Ruto will be the president next year and come 2027? It's 50%. It's either he's going to be the president or not. And as a Kenyan, and knowing my fellow Kenyans very well, especially the average voter, who is very forgetful, only comes second to Awatok. Some of them, not all of us, and I mean no insult at all. These guys have been looting the country dry. What is likely to happen, and as we speak about the state of the nation, in my opinion, is that come 2026 and 2027, when they read that budget, these guys are likely to roll out a very robust and aggressive welfare state. For example, they may wake up and tell you that there is no school fees anymore going forward. A voter somewhere in Kinango will forget the pains of 4 years or the pains of 3 years and say, yes, this guy told us he's going to deliver and now he's delivering. Now, that is something that we need to really be careful about, because they are not fools either. I mean, to think that UDA and the president and the circles are stupid is actually to delude ourselves. We might have built some synergies so far, but I'm starting to begin to think that that there is some sort of fatigue which is cropping in. And remember, and I've said this before in other fora, that systems rarely die. They tend to reinvent themselves. I will not be surprised when even the most, the critics of this administration, when shit hits the fan, they will jump. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you as you land. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. They're likely to jump ship and join the other movement, call it a coalition or whatever. But the motive will be primarily to retain that power. Now, Nerima and the other people who have been very vocal here, why don't people actually consider running for positions? And I know they might not have the financial muscle to bankroll it, but at the very minimum, if we have an agenda that we want to achieve, and the agenda we want to achieve for this republic is a country that obeys rule of law, a country that upholds constitutionalism, a country that enforces transparency and accountability. If that's what we want, and we know the people in parliament right now, even at the county level, even where I come from in the county level, why don't we give those people an opportunity? So the way forward, given that there are quite a number of speakers here, it's that we need to start now translating this conversation to something that can have, in the near term and the long term, results that will be measured and can be seen by having as many people who represent the people in literal sense at the legislature, be it at the county or the national level. Because the gatekeepers, in this case the legislators, will determine what bills comes to the floor, what budget goes through, so that at the end of the day, we are able to get people who are the people's voices, hoping that they will not also be bought. That's my thinking on how we can go about this. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they are also planning, they're also strategizing, and they might outwit us in a way. So to think that we have control of everything is one thing, but to actually deliver, it's another thing. Thank you very much. I will be contributing much later.
Thank you so much, Chacha, for your thought and also that one. And I'm requesting, we have so many requests. If you can quickly have contribute on the same and also give way forward will be very, very important. Always very, very important is very good unto us.
Eh,
Everybody's now muted. Please don't mute everybody. Thank you so much. Uh,
Wanjira, right? It's coming.
mm, Wanjira, there's something you want to respond to before I give somebody else? Yes.
Yeah. Also, as you bring her, Hillary, I think I agree with the speaker, Chacha and Wanjira earlier. For years, I think the political elites have weaponized our tribes to divide us, distract us. But that era is ending now, what I believe. Today, we must say loud and clear the way Chacha said, we are all Kikuyus, we are all Luos, we are all Kalenjins, we are all Kamba or whatever, because that unites us far stronger than what they used to divide us. I think this moment is not about ethnicity, it's about justice, dignity, and freedom. I think the real struggle is not between tribes, it's between the people and a broken system. I think those in power keep rotating blames, saying the opposition, the clergy, the NGO, back to opposition, but never look inward. We must fully debunk the tribal narrative, stop the profiling. This uprising is generational, it's not tribal, it's about shared pain, a shared purpose. The people are awake. We are not going back to the politics of fear and division. We are all Kenyans. Asante sana.
Wow, asante sana. I completely agree with him. We can only have politics of issues, politics of implementing the constitution, politics of social justice. Kenyans are tired of this petty, tribal politics that do not improve our lives. And for a long time, I think politics has been seen as a game. It has not been seen as a way of improving the lives of Kenyans. That is why when they are campaigning, they sell us the most beautiful ideas of changing our lives. But when they are actually in power, they are giving orders of shoot them in the leg. They're ridiculous. So, my comrade earlier, I don't think you had heard me correctly. I don't remember mentioning any member of parliament, Babu Owino, but I want to support the campaign that is going on of visiting MPs in their homes, in their offices, and having a one-on-one as voters and our representative. Um, if anything, it is to keep the constitution alive and going. Comrades, we have to defend the constitution. I strongly feel that it is already extra constitutional times, already unconstitutional times. So if we do not keep making noise about the implementation of the constitution, we could slide into further dictatorship. Yeah, I think that's what I have to submit for now. Comrade, I did not say Babu Owino. I don't have any faith in that institution. Parliament was captured. Parliament was hijacked. The IEBC is the other institution that gives me a lot of stress, to be honest. Because if the IEBC cannot be trusted by the Kenyan people, how then do we vote to safeguard our future? How then do we bring about this much needed change? How do we move ahead? It makes us feel very stuck. But some people are saying an IBC is better than an IBC that we have right now is better than no IBC at all. So we can use it to recall some of these members of parliament and start making use of it. Yeah. Back to you, Hillary.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much, Anjira. And be there. Actually, there's a boy came here. There's a Gen Z came here that there's a young people who are now are in court, are in jail and or they're in cells, but their cases is not going on well. I'm still looking for him and following that story so that we can see what we can do for these young people to be released as soon as we can and with correct charges because their charges also some are being their charges are not clear. We want to know all these things and we want to know the police station they are and we'll send comrades there to make sure that they're out. They're out because they're allowed to be out. All right, Albert, go ahead. Then Joe Wagashiku. Albert, how are you doing? Long time.
Fine, thank you, Hilary. It's been a while, but I'm also appreciative of the platform and the conversation that has been rolled. Definitely, it's always timely to talk about governance and definitely governance of the home country, Kenya. It's first I want to say, of course, I also join in calling the government out on the police brutality and, of course, the tough stance that have been taken by the government in dealing with the current situation. I think this is not an ideal way of course, governance, an ideal way of looking for sober solutions for the future. However, I want to also point that I feel like the well orchestrated movement that was started in last year has now been totally infiltrated by the political class. The political class is now carrying or leading the dialogue. It's no longer the Gen Z leading the dialogue. I'll want to start by blaming one person. I don't want to. Yeah, I'll want to blame Raila as an institution. So not him, specific like personally, but I want to blame him as an institution. Raila has represented opposition leadership for the last years that I know. I think since I was a young toddler until now, he's represented Kenyan political opposition. But during this time, he fought for multi-party, and we really acknowledge this, and we acknowledge that he built for democracy in Kenya. But until this time, the democracy has not really shifted and has not been experienced outwardly. And what we are seeing is Raila failed to mentor a strong opposition. And now we are seeing a situation where the Gen Z now, or there is no opposition, and now the Gen Z are actually, or the current generation is seeing the loopholes of accountability. They're seeing, there's, of course, they make the majority of the population. And now they're also asking for accountability from the government. So the government has failed. And now Ruto has taken over Raila definitely. And by taking him over, it means that he's taking the presidency plus now the opposition, the leader of opposition. So they're all in one segment. So definitely we are left without a sound opposition. Why I mean a sound opposition, what I mean is political party funding. I think some members have also spoke about political party funding. All political parties that get 5% of the vote are funded. So what it means is in Kenya currently, only UDA, ODM, and Jubilee are funded, like a bigger share of the money. So they're funded from the population, from the taxpayers' money. So we should be demanding for accountability from ODM the same way we demand for accountability from the ruling party. We should be demanding for accountability from Jubilee the same way we demand accountability from the ruling party. And now we are saying UDA and ODM are in bed together, so we don't have an opposition, or we have Wiper or all these other small parties that are really not funded according to the constitution, but we still want them to advocate for us in parliament, or advocate for us or put the government into check. I think that's where we lose it a bit. I feel like we should, for me, where we should be going is bring the threshold down, then ask more people, ask more youth to form parties and go for elections. Through that, then the threshold will be down. They'll be funded as political parties. We'll have broadened our democracy and our political space. Then they will have the power to actually transverse, do civic education, or actually make their voices heard on the ground. As things are now, there's no money for X and X, youth X and X to go on the ground, because money is solely being issued to ODM. It's being issued to UDA. It's being issued to Jubilee, and the political figures there are still Ruto, are still Raila, are still Uhuru Kenyatta. That's why Uhuru Kenyatta will walk on the street and they'll say, "Oh, stop," and make a speech. Such a thing. So we see politicians as gods because these are the only parties that have the majority.
Abdi, can you hear Albert?
Hillary, you can't hear me anymore.
We can
Yes,
hear
yes.
you.
You.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I'll just want to just I wanted to bring this about political party funding. Let's maybe drop the threshold. I'll want to maybe leave it at that so we can enter into a discussion. For the next election, before we go to the we go to for elections, let there be an amendment. Let the threshold be brought down. Otherwise, we'll be asking youths to form political parties and go for elections. They will not hit the 5% threshold. They'll not be funded for the next 5 years, and they'll be gone. You will not, hatutasikia tena Abdi Dida ama tutasikia Wajakoya, because then they're also trying to survive. So what happens is they get swallowed by the big political parties, and that's what we saw Ruto do the moment he got into power. He swallowed all the small parties that were in different regions, and we will see this continue to happen if at all we don't bring the threshold down, allow party discipline that people. And also, I think for me, that's also advancing the democracy that has been fought for over time. Then we will see youths remaining disciplined in their parties, then advocating for youth for the accountability or for the right leadership that we require. If we have enough numbers in parliament who can sway votes, it's not a must we have a majority, but even enough numbers that can actually sway votes or can sway in parliament, that's enough to actually push the government to make decisions in different directions. I'll want to just put that point into consideration. Asante.
Thank you, thank you. Before we go, I think there are a lot of people who cannot get access to the mic. There's a lot of questions. I'll just read a few. Ronyo has given us the 5 ways to recall an MP on the comment section. We have Wanjira, problem of being organized with leadership. Leaders are easily compromised. And I have a question for who now? There was also a question in regards to the comment section. We have a question for Wanjira and Nerima. Anthony, you can also come in if you want. The question is, in the light of the repeated cycle of dialogue that yield no justice, what concrete accountability measures can we push for beyond the political statements to ensure those responsible for police brutality, corruption, economic sabotage are finally held to account? And the follow-up question from this reader is, what is the bare minimum Kenyans should accept from any national dialogue if it happens, if it happens at all? Is it the time we set non-negotiable conditions before entering into another round of talks? That question comes to you, to Wanjira. Asante sana. Over to you, Hillary. Hillary, you can hear me? Anthony, your hand was up, so go ahead then.
Yes, I think we need to come to terms with we've made a lot of progress. That's number one. When we started this thing in June 2024, the moment you mentioned a structure, people would actually remove you from the speaker panel. Fast forward to today. Just to answer Albert and everyone else, young people have already taken charge of the Kenya they want. Today we had young people in Kimilili with the former Chief Justice Maraga speaking to the youth, urging the youth that the change we want will be delivered by us, not by them. Expecting Raila Odinga and Ruto and that entire mix, concoction of people to effect the changes we want is a pipeline dream. It will never come to pass. We can sit down and do everything. It will never come to pass. We had another group of young people who are, I think, working with Senator Okiya Omtata. They were in Meru. There's nowhere you see Okiya Omtata. You see young people talking to young people and other Kenyans. So when we come to this story of funding and how do we build a political formation, a political formation is not only built on money, it is also built on the human resource. Okay? Where young people believe that, and other Kenyans come and say, the Kenya we want will be delivered by us. And even if I don't have 1 million shillings, I don't have 10 million shillings, I still have my voice. So we have what is called a butterfly effect. where people are caucusing and now are starting to say, these are the people we want to elect as leaders. So slowly but surely, a structure is forming. We have young people coalescing around Maraga. We have another group of young people coalescing around Okiom Tata. We have young people now going down to the grassroots now. So this conversation now is moving from spaces, from TikTok now to the ground. Okay, and as we go, these formations of young people, soon you'll be hearing that there were young people in one day. We shall have a group of young people in Meru, Mombasa, Kirinyaga, Embu, Machakos, Wajir, speaking in one voice and saying, these are the changes we are saying, this is what we were agitating for, and these are the candidates we are proposing to you. So, is there change? Yes. Is it slow? Yes. But that is how you have permanent and long-lasting change. It's a slow but sure way, and we are getting there, and we shall get there together.
Asante sana, Anthony. Always, thank you. Let's go to let's hear before we go. We come back to you, Wanjira. Let's go to Joe, and then to Linus, and then to Bonnie and Ronyo in that order, and then we go to Amos. Asante. The mic is yours, Joe. Joe, can you hear me? Okay, Linus, stay. Pick it up.
Hello. Thank you so much, Abdi. Thank you so much, Hilary. It's been a long time since I attended the space. I hope I'm audible enough.
Loud and clear.
Thank you so much. Now, I want to be very brief in my contribution. I've had several speakers before me make their contribution, but I want to go straight to what I always say. The major problem that we have in this country is leadership without character. That has been my song for over 1 year now. That is our main problem. So at times I fall short of blaming our members of parliament. However much that they've abdicated their duties, they have fallen short of the call. But I think the main problem lies on leadership without character. And as I always say, I don't know what magic always happens, whether it's magic or voodoo, that we are always very sharp throughout the year. But come the election days, like we leave our brains on our beds and we walk in flesh and go cast our votes to the wrong characters. Now, coming to the subject of matter of the day, I think I want to agree with what Wanjiru said, that we need to organize. The time has come that we need to organize. The reason why the current administration, the regime is having headache, to some advantage, is the lack of an opposition party in parliament. If there were a serious opposition party in parliament, given that the entire parliament as a house has been compromised, even that opposition party could have been compromised. But it's not easy to compromise people on the streets. And that's the major headache for the current regime. My take is this: to contemplate about impeaching Ruto, it will be an exercise in futility. I think we need to forge ahead and mobilize ourselves and plan accordingly for 2027. Because impeachment, we know what the law demands. It demands numbers in parliament, the same parliament that has been compromised. I have had one-on-one discussion with Babu Owino on the same, and he says it's not possible. Because even if he comes up with a private member motion on police brutality and overreach, the parliament has got the House Business Committee. The House Business Committee prioritizes the business of the House per every transaction, per every session. So even if you put it to the House Business Committee, you still won't see the light of the day. So at times, if you are clever enough, if you have some little wisdom, it's not good to act in futility. So my take is this: we need to organize ourselves in a way that we ensure that we get the numbers. We already have the numbers, but now we need to go deep down and mobilize people out. Thank God now there's an IBC. The issue of recalling members of parliament, I think the best lesson that we can serve this country is to vote out members of parliament en masse come 2027. Because I'm very certain that people will be compromised midway. It's not easy to compromise a national movement but it's more easier to compromise a constituency. I have tried to discuss some of these matters with my local member of parliament, that is Kisumu Central, but he says that there's not much they can do. There's not much they can do in the context that they follow the boss, and the boss here is Baba. And now coming to Baba, Baba is calling for a conclave. I don't know what exactly he means, but my challenge to the ODM party or Baba or the ODM membership or leadership is, before they even call for a conclave, they need to take stock of what has transpired from the time they inked that MOU with UDA. They realize that that MOU is as good as dead, because whatever whatever has been realized or whatever has materialized out of that MOU is nothing, absolutely nothing. Is a good score of an E. So before they call for a conclave for people to sit and talk, they need to take stock as well. And we as the people, I thank God, because as Wanjiru always puts it, the moment we lose our fear, they lose their power. So we need not to backtrack. The only thing we need to do is to change tact. Because it's very sad that every morning, every day you get up, there's a hashtag, there's a Kenyan trending. In this country, in this 21st century, our leaders, under quotes, can sit or can make a debate two matters which should not come across any right-thinking leader. That in this age and time, we can be engulfed in discussing tribalism and killing. That leaders sit somewhere and say we need to shoot them. That someone comes up with an idea that tries to isolate a particular tribe. What exactly are they trying to do? They're trying to take us back to the yesteryears where the tribal card worked, not realizing that the generation we are in today is a generation that is informed, is a generation that is educated, is a generation that has got nothing to lose but to attain the best that we want for our country. Because if someone can come up and start saying that it's 41 against 1, is 42 against 1, that a leader stands up and talks to the people of Central, the people of the mountain, the people of the mountain. That has been the song each and every day. Yet, if you check police brutality, those who lose their lives, they are not only from the Central Kenya. They cut across the whole country. So the whole country is bleeding. And whatever pain that someone, a resident of Central Kenya, goes through, I go through the same pain. So we have a leadership that has lost it. And if you want to know that the leadership, the current regime has lost it, if you have a leader, or if you are a parent who blames your father for your tribulations today, then tomorrow you blame your mother. The next day you blame your wife. The following day you blame your child. The next week you blame your grandchildren. Then what type of person are you? What do you harbor as a leader? Because I believe in moments of crisis is the moment that we should see leadership. But Ruto has lost it. He lost the golden opportunity to show his leadership credentials, to show us that he can maneuver and he can steady this ship. He has lost it. And so the only option that we have as a people is to mobilize ourselves and ensure that come 2027, we have the numbers to vote this regime out. Me, that is my take. We should not engage into sideshows of trying to, I don't know, get him impeached, I don't know, recall members of parliament. Let us mobilize and get this thing done once and for all. Because if you fail to do that, then we are going to hurt more. At times, I don't want even to apportion blame on Raila Odinga because nobody mentored him. Raila Odinga saw a space, saw a vacuum, he jumped into it, and he ran away with it. So nobody prevents anybody from coming up because there's a vacuum. And the vacuum in this country is a vacuum of leadership. Yeah. And the best way that we can give them, the best lesson that will pinch them forever is to vote them out en masse and ensure that even as we vote them out en masse, whatever we put in is not garbage. because we cannot do an exercise in futility of voting out garbage and putting in garbage. So that is my take. I want us to keep the fire burning in the context that
Okay, I can hear Linus. Joe, pick it up.
Thank you, Abdi. I think we lost Linus.
every day and do nothing about it. These people have realized that Gen Zs and the millennials. I ask
Linus,
myself, I'm
land,
landing.
we are you on and off.
I'm landing, sir. I'm landing, sir.
Thank you.
If you
We are
notice each and every day, even our parents acting jittery are getting wary of this regime. So my challenge is to all of us to play our part and make sure that we bring the changes we need. Thank you so much.
Asante sana, asante sana. As before we bring in Joe, I think we already talked about also the NATCO report was nothing about but a political window dressing meant to calm the storm, not to cure the disease. Dialogue in this context is nothing. It is tired ritual used to buy time, dilute demands, protects the status quo. Gen Z isn't out here begging for seats or sound bites. They are rejecting the entire script. What they want is justice for the fallen, an end to police brutality, accountability for the looters, complete overhaul of our system built on betrayal, no more handshakes, no more elite pact. They are people not. The people are not confused. They are just done. Asante sana. The mic is yours. Before we bring in Nerima and Wanjiru to respond, Joe, and then to Amos, and then to Ronyo. The mic is yours. Joe, you can hear me? Okay, pick it up, Ronyo.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ronyo.
Thank you, Abdi, for the mic. You can hear?
Yes.
Santi. Thank you so much. I appreciate. My take is first before I give my submission. There was a guy, I think he was called the Don. I think he was the one who said Anjiras was the one talking about Babu. But I think somebody who mentioned Babu, it was Let's Talk. And she was saying that there are those MPs who are supporting. There are those MPs who are showing. I mean, who are coming up like Sifuna and Babu and trying to support the movement, and we cannot shut them down. And I think there are people who are doing deliberately pretending to be with the movement, but they are supporting the government. And most of them, they will come here, give a fake narrative, and then drop and disappear. Somebody coming to say a big grateful that you're not the second, you're not a hashtag. So such people, we should not entertain them, because the people who have died, who have been brutally killed by the police, they are somebody's son, brother, daughter, husband, and there should be a respect to life. And if somebody is saying that let's just be grateful because you're not a hashtag, it is very disrespectful of the people who have sacrificed for the whole country. So such people, they are idiots. I'm sorry to say that. And also, I'm sorry. I think it is Linus who was saying that us saying that we should recall the MPs is sideshow. It is not sideshow. We will do whatever it is. In our mind, Kasongo is impeached. In our mind, all those MPs have been recalled. So it is not sideshow. We will try every move that is possible, because as long as they are staying in that house, those people they're just like scarecrows. They are just there. They're not doing anything. They are just squandering our taxes. We are paying them every month. Every month we are paying them. It is our money. It is our taxes. When they are going to open a tap, and you look at how much they have spent, billions of money. You compare a tax, and somebody is showing us a huge land of wheat that is personal. That is your business. Why do we have to see what you've planted? When Galana Kularu, the project failed, and billions of money that is public fund disappeared. So when we don't people are going through a lot when we have some government sympathizers who are coming here to gaslight or trying to sell fear, that pray that you are not the next to be a hashtag. That is nonsense. People have died, and those people they are parents to somebody, and it is painful to see people who are trying, somebody like Raila saying that we should have a dialogue. Dialogue with who? Are you going to resurrect the people who have died so that we can have a dialogue? Somebody has killed some people, and they are saying enough is enough, and you're saying we should have a dialogue. A dialogue to do what? Already people have communicated what they want. People have said they want good governance, they want accountability for their taxes, they want good hospital. It doesn't matter who that hospital is in which county. We want good hospital, we want good infrastructure, and we have already given the contribution for that. So coming here to tell that we should have the youth, 50 youths from which every county, and come together, we have a dialogue to do what? To say what? To dialogue with people who are saying shoot them, shoot on the leg, others saying shoot them, kill them. How are you going to have dialogue with people who have already determined to kill people? You cannot have a dialogue with those people. They have nothing in their mind. They already determined that these people are terrorists. When people are just going out, and you have seen clearly police escorting goons, and those are the people you are saying you are going to have dialogue with. Raila is a con man, and he betrayed people, because if it's not for him joining Kasongo will not be there right now. So he's a con man. He's a big problem to the country. He's a threat to the country first. He should first step aside and let the people who are seeing the future or where they want to go. These people, most of them, they are 80, they are 90. In 50 years or 30 years to come, they will not be there. The young people who are there 20, 30 years, they're the ones who are fighting for their future and the future of their children. So coming to gaslight us here and saying that we're trying to sell fear, that will not work, and it's not right. So our watu wache ujinga. Thank you so much.
Asante sana, Ronyo, always. I'll quickly bring KOT. He's on the road with the CJ and his group, and then we cycle back to Amos, and then we go to Wanjiru. KOT, the mic is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Abdi. Actually, you just made a stop, and that's why I chose to speak before leaving this place. So first and foremost, of course, you guys, you honestly know what is happening currently in our country, and so we don't have to have a lot of discussions every now and then. The only thing we need to do is to make the decision once and for all to ensure that we change what is happening. You seeing these guys that are already calling for a dialogue, and nobody currently is ready for that dialogue, because why should we have a dialogue when every now and then when we speak to them they are still lying to us? Because if there was a time when we were so pissed off by them, they called for a dialogue, we went there, and still these people lie to us. So there is no need for that. The only thing we need to do now is to focus on how we are going to recall those incompetent members of parliament, how we are going to recall those incompetent MCAs, and any leader. And of course, we can even try to find a way where we can send Kasongo as soon as possible home, because we now have a well-constituted IEBC. And so we have that power in our hands. So guys, what I want to encourage us on this space tonight is that we continue engaging the people. We continue doing what other people are doing on the ground, of course, meeting people one-on-one to ensure that the message that we are delivering on these platforms is also same as the message that is being delivered on the ground, because not everybody accesses these digital platforms. So that's the only thing we need to do now. But there is no instance that we are going to sit down with any person who has been in the government for so many decades that we are going to have a discussion. No way. Because we as the young people of this country, these people have been taking us for granted every now and then. Um, you find out that even in that composition of the president's advisors, the person who advises him on matters young people is as old as 50 years old. That is Oburu Odinga, Jaoko Oburu Odinga. He advises him on economic and youth empowerment. You can imagine. There is no young person who is part of his advisory committee. Nobody. So we cannot demand for that as we speak because it's very late. For now, the only thing we need to do is to ensure that we drain this swamp. Otherwise, guys, let us support people who are on the ground. Let us ensure that we go out there to do what we are supposed to do so as to have a better country. Thank you so much, Abdi. I have to leave again.
Asante sana. How was the campaign town hall event with the CJ today?
Yeah, the town hall event was so good. I think he engaged the young people one on one. We had to speak to the locals, of course, different young people from different sectors, the jobless, of course, and those who are doing borders, a lot of them. So we had a very nice event. Actually, even the CJ himself didn't anticipate for that. So he was so happy to be there. And we are going to do this in each and every county, in each and every constituency, and in each and every ward to ensure that the young people out there, at least they feel the leadership they want to see. And so it was so good.
Asante sana. Amos, the mic is yours before we go to Wanjiru.
All the members that have spoken before me. First of all, I would like to say thank you for and I join other speakers who have spoken before, but I just want to say one thing that we are not going to listen to any dialogue now because shits have happened. We have lost so many innocent Kenyans. I think even in this platform, there is nobody who would like to just go and be shot by the police. I think we are tired of these issues that we keep on speaking about, and there is nothing that is being taken into consideration. And we should stop ethnic profiling because that is what is dividing this country. And the fact that we are having this platform, let no one say that we are not organized. This is already a way of us organizing. And I believe we have brilliant minds here, even those in the rural areas that can't access this gadget. I believe that there is something that they can offer that perhaps we don't know. So I believe this is the right time for us to come up with the strategies